Did you know Georges Devreux before starting to work on this film?
No, I didn't. I didn't. I knew, I came to know him because of the book, because of the Devereaux book, because of the movie, but not before. Not before.
And how did you approach your character?
How did I approach my character? Well, first of all, I read the script, and then I knew that it was a Native American, and so my character, I approached it like I approach most of the characters I do, which is, first of all, I like to get a little bit of history of the character that you're gonna do, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. And this character is nonfiction, and the Devereaux book, the book that he wrote about his work with Jimmy Picard, the book, it's 800 pages. That's 800 pages biography of the character. So that was a big asset. And then the other thing is the fact that he was Native American. So in order to understand any group of people, it's important to know where they come from and a little bit of the history. You know, so I know a little bit about the history of the Native American, but I went even further into learning about the history of the Native American, and so that and then the last thing is, like, at the end of the day, it's got to be the character in the movie, and so I would go into like, what would I do in that situation? Because at the end of the day, I'm the one who's got to. I'm the point of the point zero of the character, or point one of the character, meaning that the character will come from me, you know. So many times I'll go, well, what would I do in this situation? And maybe I would say, well, I would do this. That's not like Jimmy Picard, so I wouldn't do that. So, but
You're Puerto Rican. You have Indian blood also.
I don't know. I don't know, but I think a lot of Puerto Ricans do.
But
Arawak, Taino.
But in which way does that help you connect to your character, Jimmy Picard?
Well, I think the history of, you know, I don't know what way. There is a history of that might have some relevance, you know, in some ways. But the natives of Puerto Rico, there's the gene. It does exist in a lot of Puerto Ricans, and I'm sure it might be in me. But they were wiped out 70 years after the Spaniards came to Puerto Rico. They might have the gene might exist because of their mixing, their coming together, the Spaniards. But you know, basically the Puerto Rican thing. So there's Indian blood, but the Indians were, because of disease and also the treatment that the Spaniards enslaved the Indians. So, and also the disease that came in. So there's no big Indian community in Puerto Rico like you see in other Latin American countries, like Mexico or Guatemala. I mean, all Central America.
In a former interview, you said that to do this film, you crossed several circles of fire. Does that mean it was really complicated?
I didn't say that.
Really?
Where did I say that?
They quoted you in some French magazine. But was it complicated to embody Jimmy Picard?
Yeah, I think every movie is complicated, but this one is complicated in in many ways, and one way is like, it's just complicated to do any movie, and to try to be real in front of that camera and try to do a scene, you know, is always complicated. But I don't know if I said that, you know, that I went through all these rings of fire. That sounds like a song, not like a Johnny Cash song. But if I did, I think that what I meant, if anything, what it means to me, what you said, is that there was a lot of like, sometimes I see a movie and I'm amazed that it works, you know. It's just like, I don't know how movies come together, you know. It's like, oh wow, that worked. That moment that and some things that you think it worked, they don't work, you know. So it's a mystery in some ways, but it was a tough movie, short time to do it, and it was tough to do it because we did it very quick, so.
And in which order did you shoot it? Because your part is really complicated, because you change all the time, and there are also these dreams and these flashbacks.
Right.
So how did you work? Because it's insane.
Well, the schedule was pretty jumpy. The schedule was we would do like a scene, and that was like, that made me have to go to my hotel room and really get prepared for the next day, because scenes would be jumpy. I would go do one scene, change clothing, go do another scene, then come back, put the clothes of the next day that I was wearing 2 days ago to finish the scene. So that was complicated, but you do the best you can, you know.
Is there something that really helped you to play this character?
Is there what?
Is there something that helped you to
Oh,
play
I
this character? Because
I had a lot of people help
it's
me.
several characters at the same time. You play several characters at the same
Yeah,
time.
you know, in a way, I had a lot of people help me, but I think one thing that helps is just staying focused. How to stay focused while you're shooting that movie.
How was it to play with Mathieu Amalric, who, as a French actor, probably has a very different way of working?
No, I don't see that it's that different way of working at all. He's a filmmaker. He knows cinema. I mean, he knows movies. So I knew him from before. I met him. I saw when I was in the jury here in Cannes a few years back. His movie won a prize, and I really enjoyed his movie, Le Tournée, and so I met him around that time, and so it was easy to work with someone that knows movies and understands the process. So with actors, you got to listen. You know, in his case, he's doing a lot of listening, and but it's important to hear what he has to say.
Benicio del Toro, one last question. How would you describe Jimmy Picard, your character?
How would I describe Jimmy Picard? Well, it's a man who's suffering from, you know, from psychogenic, which means problems problems with his psychic. He's under a depression, a massive depression, and he will go. The movie is really this journey of, like, a mystery of how to get rid of that depression, or not get rid of it, but understand it, so you can start working at you start identifying it, and then eventually you might be able to control it. So I think it's kind of like the movie itself and the character. It's about this journey of for the character of becoming his own detective for his brain, and that's provided by the doctor